the average person has 26 online accounts.
That is a lot of accounts. So here's a question for you. If something happened to the person you love the most, could you find those accounts or even their passwords? Well, as you're about to see, two families tell us there is certain information we all should be dying to share.
Our honeymoon, day number 1 for us.
Dale Jensen in Mexico with his wife, Patty.
Having the time of my life.
Documenting their new lives together, a marriage that would not last long.
Where's Mom, huh? Where did Mom go?
4 years after that, Dale got a phone call at work.
It was her saying, I think I'm having a heart attack.
He rushed home to find his 46-year-old wife had died.
At 11 o'clock, we were joking and talking on email about a vacation that we're going to take that summer. And 3 hours later, I'm planning our funeral.
Like many couples, Dale and Patty figured they had a lifetime to have that end-of-life talk.
You don't think about it. You don't say, gosh, we need a will because I might die tomorrow.
When suddenly,
you're constantly sort of getting, clubbed over the head with, yeah, she's dead, yeah, she's dead, yeah, she's dead.
That's because they never really planned for it. Patty just never got around to putting Dale's name on her bank accounts, car loan, or investments. And even the software engineer couldn't crack her passwords.
What's her PIN? I don't know. You never ask people that. It's a 4-digit number she probably chose when she was 20 years old.
Suddenly, everything became too real.
Once you're gone, nobody can ever ask you anything ever again.
Today would have been his birthday. He would have been 85 today.
John and Gail Nafziger were married 17 years when last winter, despite Gail's protests, John went outside to shovel an inch of snow.
He came in and said, "You were right, I shouldn't have shoveled."
The 84-year-old suffered a heart attack and died. In the blur that followed, Gail took some comfort in knowing their affairs were in order.
We had discussed it many times. In fact, we had pre-planned funerals. We had a trust.
The trust itself was over 100 pages and made clear who got what, meticulously prepared and often reviewed. If something were to happen, they were ready, or so she thought.
You thought you were set up?
Absolutely.
And
we
you
didn't.
weren't.
We were not.
Several lawyers and realtors later, Gail is still sorting things out, blaming the mess on one attorney's really bad advice.
Their main thing was, do not tell your children what you're doing. This turned out to be probably the worst advice I've ever had in my life.
It left Gail and her daughter feuding with other family members.
From the minute it happened to today, she's not really had a moment to grieve for him.
If their stories had you saying, I don't want that happening to my family, it had me saying the same thing. So I asked estate planning attorney Jody Cohen-Press to come by and help me sort out what I needed to know about my own parents.
Do they have life insurance? Do they have annuities? Do they have retirement plans? Do they have long-term care insurance? That's a big issue.
I didn't exactly pass her quiz, so she gave me some homework.
You said your parents are having their 50th anniversary?
We're throwing them a big party.
She told me to fly home and enjoy that 50th anniversary party. But after the cake was cut and the last song played, to sit down with my mom, dad, and brother and get some answers. But where do you even start?
You guys had a good time at your 50th?
Fabulous.
In the off chance there's not a 100th, I thought we needed to talk.
Okay.
I'm ready.
We never had any of this conversation. How come?
It's a tough talk because you don't want to think about that time.
You don't think about that time.
No, she's right. She's absolutely right.
If something were to happen to one of you, the other knows where all the passwords are, knows the bank accounts, knows all the information. The other's ready to go? Or?
Not exactly.
Mom says she is, but Dad?
Mom always has taken care of all the details.
So if she lands in the hospital or even worse,
He's in bad shape.
who's the executor? Who's in charge if something happens?
You are, honey.
Why is this news to me?
I thought you knew it.
And it turns out I may not even be the best choice, according to our probate lawyer.
You live in Minnesota,
Right.
and they live across the country.
Yes.
How will you manage that? How are you going to do that?
Do I call you?
I'm suddenly starting to feel maybe we're not ready. So armed with 10 questions all adult kids should ask their parents, I delivered them rapid fire to my mom and dad.
You just give me yes or no, we're ready. Healthcare directive?
Yes.
Power of attorney?
Yes.
Hesitation?
Hesitation because I'm still thinking about it.
Will?
Yes.
Trusts funded?
No.
Life insurance? 401ks?
Yes.
IRAs?
Yes.
Long-term care insurance? When was the last time you looked at this stuff?
As for online passwords,
Are they written down in a secure place?
Yes.
Do you know where that secure place is?
No.
I couldn't help but notice between the guys, my dad, brother, and me, we didn't know much.
I'm learning as much as they are.
Isn't it funny that she's doing all the answering?
Well, probably not so funny.
Cohen Press says that's not all that unusual.
One parent may have paid the bills throughout the marriage, and one may have been in charge of taking out the garbage throughout the marriage. And whichever one dies first, either taking out the garbage is going to be a horrible event, or balancing the checkbook and paying bills will be difficult.
By now, can you guess who does what in this relationship?
I do the trash.
And my mom, the checkbook. So it turns out, even if the one person who controls the money is convinced she's prepared, but no one else is, there's a pretty good chance no one's prepared.
You and I have to have some conversation about this.
I agree.
There's a lot of voids here on my part.
It's good to have a meeting. It really is good to have a meeting and be able to talk about it.
Yes, it is. Sometimes just getting everybody together is the hardest part. Well, we do encourage you to have that meeting to talk about it. We have all kinds of resources, including the top 10 questions to ask your parents or any loved one, really, online. You can get a lot of information by going to kstp.com right now.